Hi everyone. Now we are going to discuss about union government and its administration. See, modern Indian government was originally formed through Constitution of India. So we adopted our constitution on 26 November 1949 and it came on effect on 26 January 1950. Officially known as the union government and referred as central government, and we have 28 states and 8 UTs, and together these states and UT are known Republic of India. So executive, what do you understand by executive? Executive is the, like, we have three organs of the government, by which executive is the government which functions the day-to-day functions of the government. It's primary and prominent organ of the government in terms of importance, because executive has been manifestation of government. It has been reforming the function of executives and implementation of the policies, and efficiency of the government's dependence on the policies. That's why executive is to resolve and include all the official engagement in administration. Who are the executives? They are president, vice president, PM, council of minister, governor, and attorney general. So prominent heads who play a successful role in the executive. President of the India has been given the status of head. So president is the head of the executive. However, the actual authority is in hands of council of ministers. So actual, if we are talking about the actual authority, then he will be the council of minister, and PM is responsible of advising the president about the activities, and the council of minister including the PM is answerable to the Lok Sabha. So PM is answerable to lower house of the constitution. Okay, and the central executive branch in India thus has the president as the head, and prime vice president as the council of minister headed by the prime minister, who helped advise to the president. In similar manner, if we are talking about the states, so in states also, CM is the head, and president, CM, and again authority lies in the hands of the council of minister and CM. So council of minister and CM advise to the governor. Okay, and they are the executive branch in the India. Now we are going to discuss about the president. See, president is article 52 describe over the president. The president of India is the head of the Republic of India, and president is the formal head of the executive, legislative, judiciary India, and its commander in chief in the Indian armed force also. He is the commander of chief of the armed force, and president India is directly elected by the electoral college. So electoral college, he elected by the electoral college, and electoral college consists the elected member of both the house of the parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. No nominated members are should be in the presidential elections. Okay, so both the house of members will be in of and the legislative assembly, both the house and legislative assembly house, like framer of constitution, believe that India being a federal country, the president should represent the federal character. So what is the important things in the president? See, president is elected directly, then president will enjoy the mandate of Republic of India and undermine the authority of PM and cabinet. Financial reason, the direct election will cost a huge amount of money, so that's why we taken president is in indirect election. Okay, now power and function of the president. If we are talking about the powers and function of the president, then he is the head of the parliamentary government, executive authority including the supreme command of the forces also. He elect the council of ministry under article 74. He is the de facto head of the government, and de jure, like he is the de jure, and PM is the de facto. Okay, he is the real PM, and he is the de jure, like he is official head. The power and function of the president can be broadly categorized: executive, legislature, financial, judiciary, emergency, military, diplomatic. So if we are talking about the executive power of the president, these are article 299, article 53, 74, 75, 77, 78, 320, 310, 311. Okay, 53 vests executive power in the president and empower him to exercise these powers directly by himself or through official subordinate subordinate to him. So supreme command of the defense force of the union shall be vested in the president. Article 74 says there shall be a council of minister or prime minister at the head to aid and advise to the president. 75 talks about the president and the other ministers shall be appointed by the president. And 77 talks about the conduct of business of government of India. Say all executive action of the government of India shall be expressed to be the taken name of the president. So order and other instrument made an executive name of the president. The president shall make rules for the more convenient transaction of business of the government of India. And under Article 78, it is the duty of the prime minister to furnish information to the president. So 310 except as expressly provided by the constitution, every person who is a member of the defense service or the civil service or union, all India service and hold any post connected with the defense or any civil post holds Union of India during the pleasure of the president. Okay, so now Article the 311 is talking about no person who is member of the civil service of Union India or civil service of the holds the civil post under the union or state be dismissed or removed by the authority subordinate to the him. Article 320 talks about the president appoint Union Public Service Commission, determine his function. Article 299 talks about the executive power of the union shall be expressed by the president, and property made in the exercise of power shall be executed on the behalf of president. Besides above mentioned power, the president appoints Chief Justice of India, of High Court and Supreme Court also, Attorney General of the state government, state governor and other high dignitaries post. Now we are talking about the legislative power of the president. See, legislative power is the president is summon, prorogue of the parliament and dissolve the house of the parliament. He can address the house of parliament, both house jointly. He can send message to other house of the parliament whether we respect the bill pending in the parliament. He can curse certain reports statement to be laid before the parliament and comptroller and auditor general. A report of finance commission, he recommend the introduction of certain bills, alternation of boundary money bill involving expenditure. No bill can become law until assented by the president. The president may withhold his assent or return the bill to the house for reconsideration, not the money bill. Certain types of bill passed on the legislature on behalf of assent of president. That bills are like he nominates 12 members in the council of states and 2 in the Anglo-Indian. He promulgate the ordinance. So financial power of the president. Now if talking about the financial power of the president, the no money bill can be introduced in the house of people without the previous sanction of the president. He caused to be laid before parliament the annual financial statement. He can make advance from the contingency fund of the India unforeseen expenses pending approval by the parliament. He appoints the finance commission from the time to time to make recommendation regarding the distribution of taxes between the. He determines share income tax received between the union and states and allocate to the states Bengal, Assam, Bihar, Odisha. So judicial powers of the president is Article 72. Okay, Article 72, like he grants pardon, reprieve, respite, remit, commute sentence. A person convicted court martial and if he got death sentence then also can be passed. President power is pardon covers offense against act relating to the matter union list. President power does not affect the similar power of governor, and it is like governor even do not given the power of court martial and governor do not given the power of death penalty to be pardoned. The president enjoys certain privileges in the respect to criminal and civil proceeding. Against no criminal proceeding can be stated against the term of office. His proceeding can be invited only after he has been served 2 months written notice. Military power of president, the supreme commander of defense force also the president, and that president may have the power to take action as the declaration war, peace or employment or the defense force. Diplomatic power, like he is the international affair and power of appoint Indian representative of the country. Emergency power, if we are talking about Article 352, 356 and 360. 352 is emergency power in condition of war, external aggression on the internal disturbance. Article 356, the failure of constitutional machinery. 360, emergency caused by financial stability. It is the president who determines whether the emergency should be imposed or not. His judgment in case is not questioned. And we can talk about like executive power of the union so as to give direction to any state regarding the manner in which executive power of the union is to be exercised, suspend the fundamental rights including the right to constitutional remedy, modify the provision relating to the distribution of revenue between the center and state in order to secure adequate revenue for the government of India and meet the situation created by the emergency. So this is the powers of the president. Okay, so president issue a declaration national emergency caused by war, threat, and external aggression. So parliament to make law on all matters, including matter of statelets also. So the above is the assessment of the various power of president. Looking to the powers of president is no less than a dictator, and especially so when an emergency has been declared. However, whatever may be the constitution provision regarding to the power of president and however vast this power, we can say like cabinet which include the elected representative of the people. So article 74 clearly provides there shall be a council of minister to aid and advise to the president in exercise of his function. That's why he can't become a dictator. Moreover, it is expected that he will make the emergency power with due caution on the advice of prime minister. Hence, his emergency power have been compared with the loaded gun which can kill the pupil and also safeguard them. Okay, so this is the powers of president. Now, what is the position of the president? Position of the president. So the president in India is the head of the state. So there have been a number of queries regarding the position of the president. These queries are viewed as the number of constitutional experts, Singhvi, Gadgil, and framer of constitution of India, T.T. Krishnachari, M.N. Munshi, Ambedkar. First argument, according to Constitution, Article 53 says that executive power of the Union shall be vested President. But 53 says that advice of the President, like Council of Ministers, will give the advice to the President. So 42 constitutional amendment add an advice to the President binding, but 44 constitutional amendment may change if the President may send it back to the reconsideration also. It will be binding in second time. This is become Council of Ministers headed by the PM is collectively responsible to the lower house. Secondly, the advice of Council of Ministers headed by the PM can't be questioned in any court of law. And the constitutional provides the president when in office is immune to judicial proceeding. Thus one may say that our constitutional borrow British principle implicitly which say that king can do no wrong. And Mr. Siva say president in India is replica of the British crown, but president is the superficial head than the substantive head. Okay, so this is the now second argument. If I'm talking about the post of the president, India as being a federal state. Okay, so governor who enjoy the similar power of the president. Article 163 gives aids and advice to the governor. Moreover, under articles 200 and 201, governor enjoy discretionary powers of the president do not enjoy that powers. This clearly signify governor enjoy more discretion than the president. Third argument is article 356, president rule is imposed on the state, but governor operates in absence of council of minister also. But president of India can't operate without the exercise of union government. So this is again same. Fourth argument is article 61, where president can impeach on the ground of violation of the constitution, and article 74 says president is not abide aid and advice of council of minister, and it amount to violation of constitution. So president can be impeached on ground of violation of constitution, but 74 says the president is not abiding the aid and advice of the council of ministers. Okay, so in sum, the constitution of India provides for the president to operate on aid and advice to the council of ministers. Meanwhile, L.M. Singhvi also said the aid is article 74 assistant in form of consultation, no binding to the president. The very idea taken the Canadian constitution, like 42 constitutional amendment said this is binding, but 44 constitutional amendment said did make some changes in the president return to the aid and advice for the reconsideration. So that's why it's not binding. Okay, the president of India take an oath which is different from the others. President can be impeached only in case of violation of constitution, but relevant even today it is true that president has to protect the bound to accept it. Okay, so the 53 provides a number of powers of president, and it is not always necessary that it has to consult with council of minister. For instance, the president need not consult to council of minister in the appointment of judges. In brief, president of India according to L.M. Singhvi does have some roles to play. Now what Gadgil said that the Weimar Republic in German system, impeachment of president, and the impeachment procedure of president of India suffer from certain limitations. First, it is difficult to get the president impeached. The special majority required for the removal of president. Second, president can be prorogued, summon the parliament even with the impeachment. Okay, so Gadgil opined that if a president violates the constitution and become a potential, then the Indian constitution does not have proper safeguard to stop him. So Gadgil opinion sounds like national emergency. Mr. Indira Gandhi was voted out. Furthermore, there is a activist judiciary of India. The Indian judiciary was based on the Japanese principle of procedure established by law. That is, judiciary will interpret letter of the law pronounced by judgment. And after the Keshwan and Bharti case, Indian judiciary is based on American system, provide judgment to basis of intent of law, spirit of law. The framer of constitution, like T.T. Krishnamachari, believed President of India as modeled Westminster system. Okay, this is similar to rubber stamp status of the British crown. Okay, this is not accepted by Nehru. According to him, president is not expected to like automation or rubber stamp. It is not only office of the dignity but also of authority. K. Munshi agreed with Ambedkar, however, believed that in certain situation president may act as a discretion also. So what we discussed about today. Now we are going to discuss about the actual practice. Like in actual practice, office of the president since independent, so the position of president can be understood the position of prime minister. Therefore position can be analyzed in phase of Nehru, Indira Gandhi, Rajiv, and post independence. So Nehru era, sorry, no, post of 1990. So Nehru era was the president is not going to simply act like a British crown. Prior to the first election, Nehru voiced for the socially progressive legislation, Hindu marriage bill, and Rajendra Prasad showed reluctance. Later, Rajendra accepted the intervention of Nehru, and out with an open view of Indian president expected to act as a British crown. Rajendra Prasad came out with the view president not a rubber stamp, and president of India elected versus British crown is hereditary. President of India is the head of federal and British crown is head of unitary. Provision for the impeachment of president but no provision for the British impeachment is there. And Rajendra Prasad was the opinion that Indian president is not same as British crown and not like the rubber stamp of British crown. Okay, and Radhakrishnan came out like he said embraced the government. He was not a given a second term. Okay, so in British they do not give the second term also. The Indira Gandhi reign referred prime minister government, and president played a major role in Janta government reign. Okay, and now Morarji Desai lost majority and president exercised discretion powers also. So now in general there was acrimonious relation between the president and government, like Gyani Jail Singh Rajiv versus Rajiv Gandhi. In the Indian postal bill was sent to the president and Gyani Jail Singh exercised pocket veto. Jail Singh explicitly showed that the president can play a very substantive role. And because of watershed year, Indian politics entered into the phase of coalition. So in phase of coalition, the president of India being automation is political sense, Shankar Dayal Sharma, after the loss of majority by the ruling government, it was the discretion of president wherever to call other party to form the government. So R Venkata Raman remarked the president of India is like an emergency lamp, and K R Narayan and Abdul Kalam are considered to be activist president, and he took very independent stand also. Now we are talking about Narayanan dissolved the Lok Sabha twice, and leader of furnished letter support to demonstrate the ability to secure the majority. So if no party or pre-election coalition majority, then a person would be appointed prime minister only if able to convince the president. So we can say it's ability and confidence of the president in the house. And like in case of hung assembly, prime minister elected by the president, like Sanjeev Reddy, Venkata Raman, Shankar Dayal Sharma, later who are followed the practice of inviting leader of single largest party. So President Narayan returned the advice from the union cabinet for the president rule for 2 times, and Gujarat government was there. Okay, and Kalyan Singh government in Uttar Pradesh, he was also discussing with the Vajpayee government. So he was very activist president Narayana. Okay, SR Bomai case is very important in this context. So SI Bomai case is related to like Supreme Court pronounced the judgment on our representation of pupil act is also important for that. So we have given the freedom of speech under the Article 19(1), and Election Commission passed the regulation. Meanwhile, political party tried to nullify it, but President Abdul Kalam sent back to reconsideration. Okay, so Office of Profit Bill was sent by the Abdul Kalam. So he was also very activist president. So James observed that in coalition era president, if motivated, may become a dictator, as no political party can form the majority. The president of India can enter into internal agreements. The president may turn out to be a potential dictator. So president does not enjoy absolute power, not he is like a British crown. So all about the president. Now we are going to discuss about the Prime Minister of India. See, Prime Minister of India holds the pivotal position and is fact he is more powerful than President. Prime Minister referred as primus inter pares, first among the equals. William Wynne said PM is the interstellar Luna Miners. Ivergenic says PM is the keystone. Herald Lasky says is pivot of the whole system, and Ramsay remarked as a steering wheel. Hinton says he's the elected monarch, and Beloff says it's the elected dictator. But PM is the most important officer of the authoritative person because, cabinet ministry is taking the aid and advice to the PM, and he is the focal point of the political system. The PM has emerged as the undistributed chief of the executive. PM is determined nature of the authority likely to exercise and describe the power of the PM. And like PM, IK Gujarat, Indira Gandhi, Chandrasekhar, Rajiv Gandhi, they are the good PMs as we consider. Now see what are the role of the PM. If we are talking about the role of the PM, so Article 74 talks about there shall be a council of ministry and aid and advice to the PM. Article 75 other provision minister under 75 PM should advise to the president. 78 it says about the information to the general ministry by the PM and cabinet to communicate the president all decision to the council of ministry, furnish the information. And PM advise the president in function of the council of ministry. PM can't ignore the tradition, custom, ethics, religion, caste representations, and PM belongs to having a majority in forming the government. So PM has to manage a coalition government also. So PM is responsible for the smooth conduct of the affairs of the cabinet, ensure the smooth functioning and conduct of the meeting, responsible for the decisions wherever to meet the issue discussed. PM has the responsibility of preparing the cabinet meetings, and chief coordinator also represent the government and thereby clarify the government policies and speak about the policy of the government. Chief crisis manager, and allege he is the chief crisis manager. He manages problem with administration, center state relation, and national calamity and disasters. PM is the chief in the foreign affairs. He is the independent charge and plays important role in foreign affairs, defense, and internal security. What is the position of the PM? See, PM is refers as the primus inter pares and first among the equals in the parliamentary system. He crowned enjoyed all the privileges and advice. Who gave advice to the king? His advice is not binding, but parliamentary system is considered to be modification of the monarchical system. PM is appointed to run the country, and however, this view is negated that they believe PM is the prima inter pares, and PM expressed through a number of phrase like interstellar Luna Miners, as we discussed before, keystone we can say, and the role of position of the PM are not known through the phrases, but IK Gujral or position of Indira Gandhi can't be compared. So now we can discuss about PM position within the cabinet, within the government, within the international politics, and within the parliament. See, within the president. President of the India is totally depend on the PM because PM is the only who can give the advice about the money bill, about the enhancing diminishing power of the authority of the हाँ हाँ अच्छा दी Hindu marriage bill imposition or Article 356 through Nehru very powerful. He had to face some restrictions, but position of the president was considered to be position of the authority rather than non-entity. So we can say reign of Indira Gandhi is referred in prime ministerial government because the PM was weak. Neelam Sanjeev Reddy was the weak, but Indira Gandhi government was very powerful PM. Now we are discussing Morarji Desai and Gyani Jail Singh, very supportive to the Indira Gandhi. Okay, and Prime Minister era was that, and PM suffered from limitations also. Like Gyani Jail Singh was there. So, for instance, Rajiv government failed to pass the Indian Postal Bill during the Gyani Jail Singh. And K.R. Narayanan and Abdul Kalam are president who are the considered the activist president. So that's why Narayanan also started the letters of support system, and Abdul Kalam took reconsideration of representing amendment bill. Okay, so the role of president undermine the restrict the position of prime ministers, the like PM position in the cabinet. If we are discussing about in the cabinet, initially Vallabhbhai Patel was the counter to the authority of the Nehru. Then Moraji Desai came. This was the weak government. Okay, then Indo-Pak war is there. Like Indian-China war was there, and there was Jagjeevan Ram and Charan Singh, Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi. This was the phase of the era. There was PM role was very important. Even Atal Bihari Vajpayee was a very strong PM. We can in India. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So the incumbent Prime Minister Manmohan has to compromise his position because of the presence of Pranab Mukherjee and Sharad Pawar. Now PM position in the party, like he provide the majority party also. He's very strong in political party. In coalition era also the role very important. Like Nehru, initially Nehru was not powerful, but Patel. Nevertheless, there was a national euphoria for the freedom struggle, and Nehru symbolized the face of the India at the time. Now, if Indo-Pak war, Burma war, Indo-China war, there was a role of PM was very strong. VP Singh formed the government with BJP as outside support. And Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi became the party president and was exceptionally powerful. Okay, Morarji Desai was not that much powerful, but Deva Gowda, I.K. Gujral, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, we can see their functioning. Okay, now PM position among the people and the country. PM position is linked to the people also, because Indira Gandhi, Garibi Hatao, success of Indo-Pak war, PM in hurry. Okay, Atal Bihari Vajpayee is the popular PM in the India. The Chandrasekhar was the very powerful. So the PM position which in the parliament. See, in the PM position in the parliament, PM plus council of minister, we can say, like PM and council ministers taking diversion through the extra constitutional body, because PM and council of ministers is more responsive toward the party president, important leader of the party or party coalition also. Inner cabinet, kitchen cabinet is responsible to the PM, and extra constitutional body like inner cabinet is discussion about the in important matters which is because of PM. Most important decisions like socio-economic development is taken by the PM. So this is all about the today's functionaries.